Hey, what's up, everyone? I want to welcome you guys to another episode of Here's What I Think with your host, Charles Tabansi. We'll discuss everything from current events, economics, politics, and how it all relates to business and life. And today we have a hell of a show in store for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So I believe the day was on Friday. We produced a series of shows that were centered on Donald Trump going on Joe Rogan and also Kamala Harris's lead seemingly evaporating in the polls in the battleground states, of course. We got the news that Donald Trump went on Joe Rogan. Actually, Marco sent it to me, and I remember when I first watched it, it had been out for about 12 hours, and it seemed to be getting about 1 million views per hour. Crazy stuff, absolutely crazy stuff. As we currently speak now, that interview sits at 33 million plus views. And trust and believe is going to go all the way up to 40. It was a mega move in terms of the platform. Mega move. Got Donald Trump a lot of exposure, and a lot of people are talking about it, whether it's positive or negative. You have people that are fans of Donald Trump. They're reacting to it all over the internet. You have people that are not fans of Donald Trump. They're reacting to it. So in terms of exposure, getting his name out there right before the election, which is basically a week away, it was definitely a solid move for him. So in the aftermath of the full interview, Joe Rogan was then releasing various clips on his JRE Clips channel. And I came across a clip of him discussing the possibility of him bringing on Kamala Harris before the election. And I was like, wow, this is pretty interesting. So what we would like to do is we'd like to play some of what Joe Rogan had to say in terms of the likelihood of her coming on the platform and what he would ask her. And then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what Joe Rogan had to say here.
And right? Kamala Harris has not said yes yet.
She's not said no either. People keep saying she said no. I said
smart.
I would have a conversation with her like a human being. That's all I want to do. That's literally all I want to do.
That's trouble.
I want to know what is it like to be. I don't even about all the stuff she's talked about policies and all these different things. We know her positions. Yeah. Like, who are you?
Just be real.
Who are you?
Yeah. The crazy thing with Kamala is
she would be well served to step into the lion's den.
No, she's not, though, because she can't do it.
I would be willing to talk about anything other than politics. I don't give a like if there were some certain things they didn't want to talk about. Like, fine, I don't care. Let's talk. I want to know who you are.
Yes,
I can find out who you are if we can talk about sports.
It's crazy how she does interview after interview, and they're just like disasters. And you would think that because she would study
interviews,
and
this
just
is
like
the thing.
you know what I mean?
It's a talk that no one's used to doing. Yeah. Here's the way it is. Here's a question. Give me an answer. And you're like, well, I think that it's not conversation. It's not a conversation. So it's a weird, so you're uncomfortable with your words and you're trying to get it out right. And you realize millions of people hate you and don't think you should be in that position in the first place.
Yeah. When she begins to answer a question with, I'm glad you asked that. Thank you for that. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, you know it's coming.
You know what's coming.
Well, she steers it back
when
to
she
the same
thanks you for
points.
asking a question about the 20 million illegals coming through the border unvetted. I'm glad you asked that.
No. She steers it back to the same talking points. She steers it back to I'm a middle class. I come from a middle class family. I like small businesses. It's always back to the same
and groceries.
Things.
And they go, what about inflation? And then she goes, it's everything. You're right. I'm glad you asked that question. Groceries.
I know.
Gas. But everything. Families are struggling.
Yeah.
Families, and then
but no plan. There's no. I need to hear what you want to do
policy.
about it.
You would think her handlers would go, "This is the plan." When they ask you about inflation, say we're going to do this and we're going to do that. They don't tell her shit.
The way they're doing it is very unnatural. And if you take a person that clams up when they have to talk publicly and you put them in unnatural environments, you incite all kinds of anxiety inside of them. It's a terrible way to.
But what are my thoughts about this? Well, I like the fact that he's open-minded about speaking to different people. In this case, I like the fact that he's willing to speak to Donald Trump, who he seemingly endorsed, although he didn't explicitly say it, but also willing to hear what the other candidate had to say. I also like the fact that he said that, look, I'm not really into this for their politics. I just want to get to know them as people. I think it's good that he says that because it gives you an impression. It gives you a clear idea of what you're supposed to be getting when you tune in. Just essentially a conversation based on some of the things I've heard him say about Kamala Harris versus his exchange with Donald Trump. I think he would probably have more questions for Kamala because he even said it in the soundbite. I want to know who you are. I want to know who you are, right? That seems to be one of his goals. Now, his colleagues on this show seem to be a bit skeptical of her abilities to have a sit down. We shall see. But to me, in terms of her, I think it will be a good move for her. Right? I think it would be a good move. She's done 60 Minutes and these other platforms. Why not go to Joe Rogan? Why not get a boost from that platform and let people hear what you have to say? Right? I think it would be good for her. Now, whether or not the Kamala campaign decides to do that, that's a totally different thing. We have to wait and see. But if I'm in her camp and I'm an advisor of hers, I would say, look, take the opportunity and do it. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? He's already said he's not going to discuss politics with you. So what's the worst that could happen, that can come out from that? But these are just my thoughts. So 2 quick questions to the audience. Number 1, do you think that Kamala will be willing to do this interview with Joe Rogan? And number 2, how do you think she'll do if she does decide to do it? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We'll catch you guys on the next show.